All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardon Ellis. Today I am joined in the studio by none other than Brittany the Shadow, as well as via Zoom, back by popular demand and also willingness and increasingly usefulness, none other than Ben Kaiser, our Michigander on the ground here. And we're going to be talking about an update on the tragedy that has happened in Michigan and the shooting and the arson that took place in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. And there's so many updates, it's hard to keep track of. Here's just a really fast bird eye view. FBI taking over the investigation. The IEDs found in the truck. Update from the bishop himself. The Babylon Bee basically testifying of the Mormon Church, albeit through comedy. We used to listen to politicians and laugh at comedians. Now we listen to comedians and laugh at politicians. But they actually had a joke that could only ring true as like an amazing testament to the church. We've got some unfortunate updates that we're kind of wrestling with the ethics thereof of releasing, and going to talk about the motive and what this unfortunately means for Christianity at large, because unofficially there's no motive yet. However, based off of what we've seen all here and people that monitor anti-Mormonism all the time, it's obvious what the motive was: anti-Mormonism. And then just kind of tightening up the bolts and debunking some of the narratives that have happened online that are also unfortunately trying to politicize this in directions it need not go. But before we go any further, Ben, how's the past 24 hours been, man? You're our Michigander on the scene, man. How's it been?
It's been nuts, and part of that is just because of the nature of what happened in our backyard, but also because there's so many people, number one, affected, but number two, willing to help. And so, as it's been widely reported, there's so many different people, so many different voices, lots of interviews and lots of things said. So sort of piecing that together is difficult. But one thing I do know is that the speculation sort of that was happening in the last 24 hours has largely gone away for a lot of things, meaning that it's not just, oh, I hope a lot of people are responding. It's a ton, and it includes the church, it includes the federal government. Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, I know, met with the stake president and the bishop today. She, of course, was at the press conference. So a lot of good things have been happening, and it's not that I thought that it'd be otherwise, but it is very comforting, and it makes me happy to see that kind of response.
Okay, excellent. Well, we're just going to power through a bunch of details here just to make sure that we get the shoot news out of the way, that we get the actual facts straight before we start diving into opinion and commentary and so on and so forth. I'm going to start out with what is some of the most heartwarming evidence that I've seen of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Actually, I shouldn't say heartwarming, but like where I just think it's an example of how good our people are. And this is actually via some, not commentary, but via Fox News' website here. They did indeed confirm through an interview with a member named Paul Kirby that some of the, I don't want to say hearsay because this is from trusted sources, but some of the text messages and the emails and the word of mouth that we had heard yesterday, that members of the church had actually mistaken this as an accident and gone to help the shooter, were indeed true. Paul Kirby, a worshiper, this is according to Fox News, Paul Kirby, a worshiper at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan, recalled the moment a gunman smashed his pickup in the truck and opened fire during services on Sunday. He told WTOL TV that he was with his wife and his two sons inside the chapel when the crash happened. And he says that worshipers initially thought it was an accident and went to help the driver. And that's when I saw the shooter start aiming at people and starting to shoot. Kirby said, I turned around and started running for the door. He was treated for shrapnel injury, and mentioned how he was panicking and trying to get through the doors as fast as possible and just expecting a bullet in my back. I was just waiting for it. He talks about grabbing his children and seeing one of them, his oldest son, who, quote, does not cry often, which is just heartbreaking to hear as a father, being said of his son. But I saw the fear in his eyes. He was crying. It was the scaredest I've ever been in my life. And he hopes, which I do not think I could say this, the things that the Michigan members have said under duress and in the wake of just absolute tragedy just brings a tear to my eye, and I look up to these people. He says he told the outlet that he hopes people will become more unified following the attack instead of turning it political or turning it in other ways negative. And he says there's so many people here that are quick to judge, so ready to point the finger at who did it, why they did it. Some political reasons, just something, everybody's making stuff up. He says we can't be pointing the finger. We can't let this divide us. Holy crap. Holy smoke. Did you see that interview in person or live, Ben, or did you just hear that afterwards?
No, I heard that afterwards, but beautiful sentiment.
Holy crap. Have you been able to talk to anybody closer to this since it's happened, or no?
Yeah, I've talked to a few people, but a lot, it's just so chaotic. A lot of it is truthfully heartbreaking. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are very strong and they're doing their absolute best. And a lot of it comes natural for us. I think we touched on that before. We have such great resilience, I think, really embedded in us as saints, but of course as people. So I think it like when I'm talking to people, it's almost like a reflex. So it's cool to see, but it's also kind of sad because it's like we kind of conditioned to do so.
Okay, before I just go back to what some of these news articles are and what they've told us and everything, I'm curious what what new developments have you gleaned over the past 24 hours since we spoke that stuck out to you?
So first off, I really wanted a couple names, just not to like dox anyone or anything, but just so I can pray for them individually. And we know one being Brother Phelps. Please continue praying and fasting for him. He still is in critical condition. He was shot in the abdomen. Um, where it was a little murky from my original post, the former bishop of that ward, who I have met, I don't know super well, but I met several times. He was one of the people that was also shot, which was why there was some initial confusion. He was the former bishop. Um, I do know that a couple of general authorities are on their way, that are going to be touching ground pretty soon, to assist with some of the grief counselors that both the federal government and also the church have set up for the membership there. Um, I do know also some you know good resources are trying to be deployed. I know that they were, I mean, obviously the building burned down. So part of it is trying to find a location to do some of these things in, which I offered some help. And of course, I'm a little bit further in proximity, so that really didn't help anything. One name did get published officially. I sent the link out. His name is, and I found out he's a pretty new member. I'm not sure how new, but his name is Brother Bond, Dave Bond. He's 77 years old. He's a Navy veteran. So that was published today. So I don't feel weird about that. But one thing I did want to clear the air on too. Yesterday, I had said that the Flint ward had been evacuated, and the Saginaw ward that I was attending got placed under brief lockdown. And that was because the shooter himself placed several bomb threats to various churches and stores. Meyer was one of them. And that was, I'm being told, to distract police and fire. But the official time, I believe, is 32 seconds. And that's because some of the membership there responded. So it didn't do what he thought it was going to do.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
I thought I heard too that he placed bombs around like different denominations, or was it just Mormon wards churches? Do you know?
Yeah, so I heard all that was just to distract the police. The actual
Huh.
IEDs, four were found in his truck. That's the number that I've been given and that I've actually seen online a little bit. So I I don't know why he went that route, but he just those were false flags, I guess, if you will, to distract first responders. I don't know the timeline of when those were called in, but I do know that all the IDs were found on the truck. Now, nothing's been released about the search in his home, which I'm not really sure why, but I'm guessing they found some more material there as well.
Okay, and while we're talking about that, I also just want to give a shout out to the next two people on the live stream. I realized I committed a grave error. Brad Whitbeck was waiting in the waiting room on Zoom, and so that's why you weren't here. Brad, please say hello to everybody here. Welcome, Brad Whitbeck, back to the
Hi, guys.
Ward Radio Wigwam. Yeah, sorry about that, Brad. That was totally my error. If there's any question that we're doing
Oh,
this
no
live,
worries.
there is your answer right there. So anyway, back to just making sure that we cover the shoot news of this
Yeah.
and get all of the facts straight. One of the unfortunate developments that just adds so much depth to the unbelievable nature of this is right here. Ben just mentioned it, and we were able to confirm it. We had heard suspicions of it yesterday from people that were on site, but here it is indeed, that 4 IEDs were found in the Michigan church shooter's pickup, according to the ATF. This isn't just some speculation. They've actually said there was 4 of them in the vehicle, and the rest of the article says the truck belonging to the man who allegedly crashed in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc before opening fire on a crowd of worshipers was loaded with explosive devices. What that means, they haven't exactly told us yet. We assume to avoid copycats, but anyway, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms told Fox Detroit that there were 4 IEDs found in Thomas Sanford's truck after it crashed into the church on Monday. They were made of, I'm sorry, I was mistaken. I had read earlier that they weren't saying what it was made out of, but this has since been updated, I think, since I read the article the first time. Here it says in black and white that the IDs were made of consumer-grade fireworks and smoke canisters stuck together, the station reported. Fox News Digital has reached out to the ATF. So not only was this not a passion crime and was premeditated, obviously, but like premeditated. Have you gotten any insight onto that aspect of anything from any of your friends who were first responders or involved in the investigation, Ben?
No, that's the one thing that I've been pretty unable to get much information on. Everything I've really gleaned from the shooter has been slowly released either through interviews or news channels. So I haven't really found anything of substance there for him. I did forget one aspect though that I wanted to mention real quick, which was I saw some rumors. They tried to keep it a little hush hush, but somebody did drive through the police barricades yesterday.
Yeah, with a
And
rifle. Yeah, keep going.
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Oh, no,
Really?
keep saying what happened. Yeah, I'm pulling up the article. Keep telling him, Ben.
Yeah, so I had heard that, and this was another one of those things where it's like, well, let me just figure out some of the details, and then all of a sudden it was published. And the initial articles didn't say anything about a weapon. He did have a weapon in his car, and he was arrested right on the scene.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. Actually, if we just scroll down right here, there was a 21-year-old now taken into custody for driving through a barricade near the stake center. A 20-year-old person, all right, they haven't given the name yet, but he's in custody because he drove through the barricade in Grand Blanc where authorities were investigating the deadly shooting and fire. Grand Blanc Township Police Chief William Rennie told reporters Monday that an individual was taken into custody for the incident, though it was unclear whether it was connected to the shooting and the fire. They're continuing to investigate. And I'm going to pull up a different article here in a second that has all the pictures of it. It's insane. The guy's got just
And when did this happen?
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Like, yeah.
And was this related to the shooting at all? Or was it just someone just passing through on accident?
They
Yeah.
won't
Or is
say
it clear?
one way or the other. Yeah, it's not clear. As far as
Okay.
I know, they've ruled out a connection there.
Okay, yeah,
Oh, like distracted driver on steroids?
dude.
Or
I'm trying to find the article if you guys can't see the screen, but I have a massive bit of tabs right here, and in the tabs I'm actually trying to cruise through them. Here we go. Okay. So in this article, which comes to us via the Detroit Free Press, which, by the way, kudos to the Detroit Free Press. They have some of the best visual, like whoever they're sending out to do their work seems to be doing good work. I actually have not dealt with the Detroit Free Press very often. Is that the paper of record in Michigan, or is that just one of the bigger papers there, Ben?
It's one of the bigger papers.
Okay, cool. Well, they're doing good work from my perspective, at least. I mean, we give credit where credit is due. I don't know what their leanings are or what their angle is usually, but when I was at FM 98.1, I got nothing but accolades for Deseret News from the chief of news in FM 98.1, and I got to say, it seems like the Detroit Free Press is doing really good work here. Here's the picture I referenced that they had mentioned about an ATF agent removing a long gun from a red Buick after a driver allegedly attempted to drive through a police barricade at the scene in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township on Monday, September 29th, 2025. And so, yeah, look at that. Just literally big old hunting rifle just right there. Just I guess just hanging out on your passenger side seat, because who doesn't? I mean, I'm a total Second Amendment guy, but I would be mortified to just be driving around with a rifle on my passenger seat, especially surrounded by federal agents wondering what I'm up to. I can't even begin to speculate. But anyway, investigators inspected a long gun from a red Buick after a driver allegedly attempted to drive through a police barricade. The day before, a person drove a pickup truck into the church and opened fire and started arson, so on and so forth. But yeah, there it is. And also, it looks like there was a local guy who is just doing his best to be a peacemaker, it seems, who actually built a cross. Dan Beasley. Have you seen this guy who built a cross and delivered it to the church, Ben?
Yeah.
So what's the story behind that?
That is another one that I read about and saw. I also saw several photos around Michigan, actually around the country, where people are finding their local ward and branch buildings and delivering flowers to either the front door or laying them on top of the sign.
Oh, wow. You know, that's good. And I have to say, we're going to talk in the reaction section of this video once we get done with the shoot news. Some of the disappointing reactions from people and some bad actors in the wake of all of this. But I have to say, there has been some very good reactions. And one of them is actually coming up on your screen right now. Unfortunately, Ben, you can't see the picture that I'm referring to, but this is in the video gallery of not the video, this is in the photo gallery of the Detroit Free Press, where in the article you put in the Discord, it says there's 26 photos. This is probably about photo number 7 or 8. But Dan Beasley of Northville carries a cross he made to the police barrier after a pickup truck ran into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township during Sunday services as investigators. Yeah, and so telling the story. And look, here he is. And it looks like one of our 17-year-olds, I assume that's us, Benjamin Stanley. I don't know if he's a member of our church or not, but it looks like an interfaith thing right here. Kneels and prays with him. And you know what? Freaking good
That's
on them,
beautiful.
dude. Yeah. Good on that guy. One of the best reactions that I've seen is actually how people are just finally, well, I would say similar to racism abroad. Like, have you traveled abroad, Ben?
Never left the country.
Oh, really? Okay. Hey, boy, we're going to have some fun times in the future, Ben. You know what I'm saying? The first stop, Tijuana. No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh gosh,
yeah.
of all places.
Let's build him up for success here.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, I'm from California. It's the closest border town. What can I say? You're right. Maybe we'll skip Tijuana, go straight to Cabo San Lucas. I don't know. We'll game theory your first
You know
trip.
what's funny? I've actually never been to Tijuana.
Oh, you
And
never
I've
have?
lived in California my whole life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would say you aren't missing much, but you are missing a lot. There's a lot of freedom in Tijuana and really great generic prescription drugs and inexpensive Oakley glasses and all the contraband you could ever need.
Sweet.
But anyway, we'll figure out where we take Ben for the first time that he stamps his passport. But I would say that when you go out of the country, one of the first things that you kind of notice is the world doesn't view people in like black and white or Latino or Hispanic, American, Indigenous, Inuit, Indian, like all of this race garbage that we have in America just dissolves down to 1% when you go other places. Because let me tell you, the Middle Eastern folk, the Egyptians, the Israelis, Eastern Europeans, Asians, when they see a black guy from Detroit in a army uniform talking with a white dude from Mississippi and a Mexican from California, they don't see three different races, they see one freaking American. And just they will shoot at and kill and capture and torture or ask for money, serve, and try and vend to all three of those guys completely equally because in their mind they see American. I actually feel that there's a little bit of a turning point that has happened in North American culture as I have investigated this. A lot of people, despite maybe what some prominent pastors at the pulpit are trying to say, the people themselves that we associate with on a day-to-day basis are recognizing more. I've been fed a load of crap that Mormons aren't Christians. Like freaking Mormons are Christians. They're one of us. We need to drag a cross over there and pray with them. We need to recognize this was an attack on Christianity just as much as it was an attack on Mormonism or whatever. The amount of people that have just put aside those traditionally dogmatic and denominational differences has actually been a beautiful thing to see. And we're going to lambaste the people that haven't. Trust me, there's bad actors out there.
Oh, good.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. We'll lambaste the bad actors out there. But yeah, some of it's been beautiful. Brad, what do you got to say, bro?
Have we talked about the Chris Johns, the city councilman guy?
That's what we're going to get into when we go on the list next for motives. But hey, we might as well talk now.
Cool,
Your
cool.
thoughts.
Oh, just I put in the Discord, I put a Detroit News article about him.
Okay, yeah,
that you
that's the
can
new
pull up.
one. So yesterday,
Detroit Free Press. Yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull up the article on. I'm just going to pull up the article that I had put out on our account on X. For those of you that don't follow us on Twitter, A, shame on you, and B, go straight to Twitter right now and see if you can't follow us on our Twitter account. This is where most of everything that we have to say comes out the fastest, okay? And one of the things that we tweeted yesterday, basically right after it first happened, thank you very much for all the tipsters that have been sending us information, sending us well wishes, sending us contributions of all sorts and information. They sent us this video yesterday. Now there's been a follow-up that's a 1 minute, but I think we're going to watch two really fast because this really does indicate, frankly, motive and the story behind what happened. Before we watch this, Ben, anything you want to say before we dive into this video?
No. Let's get to it. I got some things, but we'll go that route when we wrap up.
So this came out yesterday via Dave Bondi. Okay, and Dave Bondi TV, he says the following as he interviews Chris Johns, who's a candidate, candidate for a local office. I believe it's city council or something along those lines. Let's see what he has to say. Oh, got the sound not down. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm talking to Chris right now, and you contacted me a short time ago. Pretty distraught because actually, earlier today, you came to the realization that you say that you talked to the person who did this horrible thing in Grand Blanc Township.
I did last week. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm running for city council and I'm canvassing, and I had an address on my map that I went to, and I came across a gentleman. He was very friendly, and he had interacted positively with me. And then we got out of the vehicle. We started just to talk, and after a short while, the conversation went to the Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormonism, and he just made the position multiple times that Mormons are the Antichrist. And he, in not so many terms, said that several times. He gave me his background, but I just walked away from a person who had some very sharp views about Mormons.
Yeah, so you were just out campaigning for the election in November coming up, I'm assuming?
That is correct.
And so you're just shaking hands, looking to meet people. You come across his door. Have you matched it up? Is it the address the same as this person? Have you looked?
It is, yes. I mean, it is not only the address, but it's also the person that I spoke with. I have a friend in Utah who is involved with the LDS Church. I sent him a voice message saying I had a conversation with a person who had very sharp views, and it's just like you come across a lot of different people while you campaign.
Yeah.
And I shared this with him on Friday, and then we had our Sunday dinner, and I ended up seeing a photo. That was the exact guy I spoke to last week.
So you saw the guy, and I'm not gonna, the shooter. You saw his picture on the news or on social media, and what was your first reaction?
Shock. I mean, to have just interacted with a person who, again, he had very sharp views. And when we first started speaking, very positive. We just made just general chit chat, and then he went into his background, how he was a Marine. He had served overseas. And again, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm just going from memory, but he, to start new, had moved out to Utah to plow snow. He then began a relationship with a woman who was in the LDS Church. And then the conversation changed to tattoos, which he had a lot of, and how he had to have all his tattoos removed in order to be, for certain religious ceremonies. And it was just a piece where I was very careful how I answered, because it's one of those things where I did not know what response was going to be acceptable to him. And so it was a case of like, I just wanted to get off the door and away from him.
So you just wanted to be nice and say, okay, have a nice day.
Exactly, and just try to do it the easiest way possible while kind of just walking, one step at a time. And again, when I first started, my daughter was with me. She was in the car because we're, driving from house to house. He was very nice. I mean, he was extremely nice. My daughter has special needs. She reached out to him. He held her hand. He was he talked about his child who had a serious medical concern and how just the care there.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the conversation shifted from chit chat into what are your thoughts about the Church of Latter-day Saints. And again, my cousin played football at BYU. I have friends who, so I have a history with BYU and the Mormon Church. You don't know what you're going to say that could potentially cause a reaction. So I kept my views to myself and walked away.
So at no time did you feel there wasn't any threatening or violence? It was just kind of you thought off the wall kind of talking.
Exactly. It wasn't
can we
next
pause
week
for a second?
This Sunday I'm going to do.
Go for it.
It was more of
I just want to point out that tattoo rule is not real. So I don't know what he was going off about
Really?
there.
Brad, are you sure?
Yes.
You don't have to get your tattoos removed in order to
Clearly.
do ordinances.
No, she's showing off hers. She's showing off.
Oh,
her
I can't see
tattoo.
it. Okay.
Yeah, it was hard to see
dang.
because it was low resolution on the Zoom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, while we're paused here and we are talking about it, yes. Anti-Mormonism, unfortunately, oftentimes recycles old tropes. And one of the worst straw men of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is that you can't participate in our ceremonies or in our religion, or you're somehow ostracized if you have tattoos. And though there is a cultural, what's the word for it? We generally eschew getting tattoos. You're not prohibited from going to the temple. That's an absolute lie. It's garbage. You don't go to hell if you drink coffee. There's all these stupid things that get floated around by anti-Mormons that aren't true. And there's no question to get your temple recommend. If you want to go to the temple, you want to get married, you have tattoos, that's fine. In fact, there's an entire influencer circuit run by, what's her name? The tattooed Mormon? Calloway?
Al Fox. Yeah, Al Caraway.
Yeah,
Al Fox and Al Caraway. She talks about this ad nauseum. That's not a thing.
So maybe a charitable view of this is that he was actually told that by some member or some person who wanted him to get rid of his tattoos, And so he did think it was real from somebody who was in the church. But a less charitable reading of this is he was just listening to any anti-Mormon rhetoric that he could hear, and that sort of stuff was kind of piloting his view of our church and what we believe.
Yeah, the same people that say we're demonic, that we're a cult, both ex-Mormon and anti-Mormon, evangelical or whatever, they keep recycling these tropes, and they're just not true. So if any of you guys are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you can be a member in good standing if you have tattoos. Yes, we have some cultural isms. Generally, there's, I wouldn't say a stigma, okay, but there's a discouragement of getting tattoos, frankly, just because we don't believe in, I wouldn't even say don't believe in, but generally I'd say there's kind of like a social, it's just not.
Well, our bodies are sacred, and we want to treat them as such.
Our bodies are a temple, and we generally believe that, like, okay, cool, try and be as.
Also, I don't want to assign dirty motives, but this Chris Johns guy, is anyone else's spidey sense going off? Like, he kept saying like how nice that guy was, and they were in friendly conversation, and then he said, "Oh, but I had to talk very deliberately," and
Well, let him finish. And also, this is just Midwestern niceness. Like, look at Ben. If he were in Southern California, he'd be an absolute
saying, this
savage.
guy, I don't know what religion
But, no,
he is. I bet we won't know, but
well, let him finish. Let him finish. I've studied this guy, Chris Johns, and I've listened to 3 interviews now. And
if someone tells me someone is an antichrist, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, well, I got to go. I'm not going to keep going in the conversation.
Yeah, by the way, your knees are in great focus, not your face. So if you want to, yeah, there we go. So, yes, no, obviously, but he's running for political office, and it seems like he was probably trying to be courteous to the person.
I know, but saying someone is an antichrist, like if someone is saying like a racist joke to me too, I would be like, oh, okay, like we're done. Like I wouldn't keep going in the conversation.
Okay.
So anyway, that's how to say that.
All right. So let's let him finish what he's got to say, and then we'll go.
A case of just views that were shared. And again, I mean, what I just walked away from was a person who was very animated and it mentioned that, for lack of a better term, that Mormons were the Antichrist.
Okay. And obviously troubling, but nothing that you would have need to alert police for anything.
No, I mean, not to say just in pop culture, but if you listen to enough YouTube, social media, like you hear different views on either side. And so it wasn't anything that I would say was violence inducing, but just people of all stripes have very sharp views. And I was like, okay. And I just, again, I have a very indirect relationship with the Church of Latter-day Saints, and I just kept those views to myself and just very carefully walked away.
Okay, so and you are saying that you are 100% sure this is the same individual you talked to. Was it last week?
Yes, it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Dave, 1,000,000% I spoke with him. I can remember, where his house is. I had the conversation. Yes.
Okay. A lot of people want always to know in these horrible situations why someone does this. So in your mind, this maybe answers that question?
It has to be. I mean, there was very little political talk when we spoke, and it wasn't that. I mean, Dave, outside of just like, hey, how are you? How's the weather? It immediately shifted towards his thoughts on the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah. How you live in the community. How sad is this? Because I got the call this morning. I heard about it. I just hard to believe. I mean, I live about a half hour north of where you're at, and I went down there. It's just really hard to believe right now that this actually happened in your hometown.
Yeah. It's insane because my daughter, she has a...
Okay, yeah.
When I see his reaction, I think his, like, he was such a nice guy stuff is him just utterly shocked that this happened. I think he was... It sounds like he was just canvassing, trying to talk to people to get them to be willing to vote for him. And then suddenly he's having this conversation about some kind of raging anti-Mormon stuff, but it's not stuff he hasn't seen before, right? It's relatively common, like he said. And so he just kind of backed away from the conversation. That's I think he seems honest to me.
I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
I've lived in LA too long. Like, we don't even talk to each other. If you do, like, if you say something, like, you're going to get beat up if you say something wrong. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
But he was like knocking doors to get people to like sign up for him. So he's in their territory, right?
Yeah.
So that's
this is a rabbit hole we need to get out of really fast, regardless of whether or not you agree with his coping mechanisms of dealing with a crazy person that wants to talk about crazy things. This guy did us a massive favor, because as a third party individual, Chris Johns explained obsessive anti-Mormonism to a T. You can't. What do we say about ex-Mormon anti-Mormons? What's the number one phrase?
You can leave the church, but they can't leave it alone.
Yeah, you can leave the church, but you can't leave it alone. And they can't go 3 minutes talking about anything else. Sports,
and
pop
just for
culture.
clarity's sake,
yeah,
it doesn't seem like this guy was LDS, right? He wasn't a member of the church, but he maybe dated one when he was out in Utah.
This is what Chris Johns claims, and we're going to be getting in, and we're going to be finding a lot more. We don't want to speculate on that, so we've kind of avoided commentary on that so far. But This is what Chris Johns has said multiple times now. So the assumption is that there was some kind of romantic endeavor or some kind of attempt in the past. Apparently he'd gone to work, according to Chris Johns. This isn't to me, and I have not been able to verify this, but he claims that the person had sought out a roofing job in Utah, and that had somehow made him meet some Utah woman, and now we assume that that's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but we don't know, so we haven't tried to speculate. Either way, he has, as a third party, everything he said so far is checked out. He does not seem to be so painfully aware. Sorry, he doesn't seem to be totally in with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints enough that he's like animated to operate on their behalf, because he's struggling to remember how to pronounce our name correctly. But he does know that he has a cousin at BYU, and he does know that, hey, they're pretty nice people generally, so he seems to be, at least from where I'm standing, a pretty decent indication of a third party observer. Okay. And he had a reason to talk to the guy outside of any kind of pro-Mormon or anti-Mormon animus. And that was simply that he's running for city council and he's knocking doors. So the guy's gone, he's knocked doors. Let's let him finish his story.
Therapist that's on McCandless Road, so we know the area. And again, I was in church when we had a friend who lives in St. Louis. He shared the message with us, and we're reading it in church. And I'm looking, I where my seat is, I'm next to the window. I'm looking out the window. I don't know if this is part of a larger coordinated issue. Yeah. And I go to Solid Rock Community Church, and we're very vigilant about safety. And I'm just looking out the window because you don't know what could be happening. And then I came home this afternoon, and I see a photo of him, 1,000,000% that was the gentleman I spoke with last week.
Yeah, really, a sad situation all around. And when I was working on the news, I couldn't say this, but I think we all need to pray for not only everyone there and the first responders. I was seeing police, I was seeing FBI literally almost in tears having to see these things in person. So I think we need to pray for everybody, because this country, it's unnerving.
It's very scary, and we just don't. And when you first
really
hear about it, you didn't know what
call for prayer.
Yeah,
that he puts in there. It's good.
And actually, I've noticed, this is something I've really noticed. I was going to say this till later, but now that we've already interrupted this replay, I would say this guy said, I couldn't say it when I was working on the news. I don't know if he's like me and also, has another position at a local radio station. Sometimes I broadcast for FM 98.1, not in the capacity of Ward Radio. Other times I do it in the capacity of Ward Radio. But it seems like this Dave Bondy guy here on the left said, when I was on news, obviously you can't just call to prayer. And dude, the 60s and the 70s muzzled Christians into not speaking publicly about their faith. And I think that gave a lot of rise to the new atheism, which ended up being the birthplace of wokeism and hyper-leftism and so on and so forth. But a lot of that is coming crashing down. Like on PBD podcast, all three people who I didn't even know went to church were talking about their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Like, there has been a turning point, no pun intended, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the massacre in Michigan, in which people are realizing, no, like, not only is it okay to talk about my faith and Christianity in public, I need not be afraid. In fact, I need to be maybe not outspoken, but like, we need this. Like, we need to come together. We need to not interdenominationally squabble, and we need to be vocal about our faith. At least that's what I've noticed from afar. Ben, have you, people are talking about after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there being a revival. Do you feel that this violence in Michigan has spurred something similar, or did you guys just never struggle like that, like we do in Los Angeles?
No, listen, Michigan is a hard area. I have nothing but good things to say, like I mentioned last podcast, but it is a difficult area. I've labored in this vineyard for 30 years, and that's being a little generous, but it it's tough, man. There's a lot of great people here. There's a lot of great Christians, and they are ingratiated into their denomination and sect of Christianity, which is fine. One thing I will say and promise anyone listening that the one thing that you shouldn't do that does not make sense is if you are curious about this church, about this sect of Christianity, please don't go to every source that's going to say everything negative, lie, and bash. Why would you do that? That would be like if somebody asked you how they could grow closer to Jesus Christ and you just said, here's a book on atheism. It doesn't make sense. And the people, and I'll give you an example, and I feel ashamed to share it, but I hang out with the missionaries as often as I can to help teach and things like that. And a few years back, I was sitting in this lady's living room, and the spirits oftentimes speaks to me very directly. I hear a distinct voice, and it speaks to me the way that I speak to myself and others, which is sometimes a bit harsh. And I just remember the spirit saying, "Don't be a coward. Bring up this anti stuff," which had not been a point of the conversation. And I said, well, if it drifts in that direction, I will do that because I felt the need to really address that. I didn't, and that's the last time we met with that lady, and I'll always regret it. And it's something that I'll never fail to bring up, especially when it talks anything about our doctrine or our church. If you want to know more about this church, the last thing you should do is hop online. The last thing you should do is look at these pastors like Driscoll and people that have nothing but disdain and hatred, and it's misplaced. These people never have done their research, never have read the Book of Mormon. They've never attended, and even if they had, they certainly didn't do it in good faith with earnestness and genuineness.
Mm.
It's unreal that somebody could, and I'm sure you guys have run into this your entire life. People love
Well,
coming
yeah,
coming up to me and telling me what I believe in,
yeah.
having done
And
zero research.
they're repeating the same things that were said in the 70s, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild to watch. Cardon actually has a copy of the Green Book that they generally will go back and reference for almost every single argument that they have, because these are not people looking to seriously understand what we have to say. You know, they are looking to pick apart what they can about our faith and about our church. And sometimes I think it's from like a place of genuinely trying to help others, right? But sometimes they've been lied to by a pastor or by a friend who thought they were trying to do something good. But I just really need to emphasize that reiterating lies like this does not help anybody.
Yeah. And
Sharing those kind of lies is bad. It's one of the commandments to not lie. And I think that a subset of that should be to not just repeat lies without checking things, you know? It's crazy.
And the
yeah.
reason I brought that up is because, and I'm sorry, I didn't, to answer your question directly, yes, I've had people that I've begged some of my friends to come to church and now it's to any church. And I stay on top of a lot of my friends. Did you go to church this Sunday? It's not even, hey, come to mine. Did you go to church this Sunday? And now it's the opposite. Now people are reaching out, hey, I haven't been to church in years. I'm going this Sunday. A lot of it was after Charlie and after this. And I don't want to say the good thing about something like this because there's really not much, but if you're going to take anything good, there's a lot of people who are curious. Oh, that was your church. We can have a dialogue about it. It opens that window, which is sad to say that it takes something like this, but whatever the circumstance, I'll gladly embrace it. So I just wanted to throw that. I went on a little bit of a tangent, but if you're curious, please ask. Don't go to any sources that really don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some of those sources here pretty soon.
Do you want me to do the super
But
chats?
yeah, I was literally just
Yeah.
going to say, let's finish letting Chris John speak. There's only about another 2 minutes on his testimony because I want to make sure that everybody gets to hear from his mouth what he actually said, and then we're going to read the super chats. So let's finish with Chris Johns on David Bondi TV. Keeping it real, go.
Direction, and then you come to this, and I think what I want to reinforce that this is not a blue or red issue. This is 100% personally held beliefs, and again, this gentleman kind of told me about his past and about the ups and the downs. And
Oh, did he go into his military background at all, or no?
Well, he said he was a Marine and that he was deployed overseas. I don't know if it was Iraq or Afghanistan, but he was of that age where it was in the probably early 2000s. And again, he spoke about just some experiences with drug use and making, he said, I'm going to make a change. And he moved. I don't know how. Again, this is we're just doing this in the driveway. So it's very.
Someone you just met.
We just met, but he was one of those people where he was very animated, very outgoing, and he just shared. And with that, he just, in a nutshell, said, I was looking for a change. I moved to Utah, and then things happened. And I can't substantiate what other things I've heard, but just his experience with the Mormon church led him to have some very sharp views.
Okay. And like you said, you are, there's no way for me to confirm what you're saying, but you told me you did reach out to someone else with these concerns like days ago. So you're 100% sure. And it's just, prayers go out to everyone because this is just a sad situation. But thank you for talking because it helps people maybe wrap their mind around it a little bit. So, and obviously we're not in his head. I don't know but this gives us an idea of maybe what was going on.
Exactly. And that's the piece too, where I was a total stranger. This was just a house on a street that I had marked to talk to. And I went and again, it was a very positive, engaging conversation to start. And then it did shift. But in regards to this, like just in terms of this, I have a friend who is involved with the Church of Latter-day Saints in Orem, Utah. I sent him a voice message on Facebook last Friday, recounting my experience with a gentleman who had some very sharp views. And I shared that with you as well. So in terms of timestamp, I mean, this is not a day of advantageous piece. Like, I documented this with my friend.
Yeah, and you are is it a current city council, or what's the position you're running for?
Well, I'm a candidate for city council in Burton, so that's why I was going across the city, reaching out to people who had voted in the primary and reaching out for the upcoming general election.
Okay, so as we can see right here, he basically reiterates the reason he was talking with the guy. And it seems with how much he's gone on record and the amount of risk of not speaking the truth in such a high profile thing like this, I believe him. And there's another 1 minute interview that I might watch again later if we have time. But yeah, it seems like this was anti-Mormonism. That was the motivation. A lot of people.
Well, I mean, why else do
sure.
you attack the entire church, right? Like, if it was personal beef with someone who is LDS, why go after the entire congregation?
Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to say, like, oh, hold on a second. Well, look, at his house, he had a stop Donald Trump, therefore he's a leftist. Like, okay, first off, okay, like there's like almost no military guy leftists. Also, like
Also, who cares about his politics?
Yeah, there's tons of people that are never Trump or Republicans. Yeah, this and that. And he wasn't running around saying like, oh, did you vote for Donald Trump? Okay. Apparently he was asking, do you believe in Jesus or Joseph Smith, which is a huge trope of anti-Mormon, especially anti-Mormon evangelicalism in North America. Brittany,
do we know how credible is that one? Because that sounded different from some of the other things that I'd heard.
Yes, which okay, so I've never heard any recordings of it. So first off, we don't have any hard evidence that that's true. So we might have to throw that into the hearsay category, okay? But what we don't have to throw into the hearsay category is there is zero indication that this was a political motive. Like, there's been no manifesto found. There's been no disgruntled, I lost an election or else these people are evil. Like, everything indicates, like, not just anti-Mormonism, but the brand of anti-Mormonism you and I are constantly fighting online, Brad. Like, this guy's behaving like textbook. I got in a lot of trouble 2 weeks ago when we released an Instagram profile where I said, hey, we have to remember that the left hates us, but parts of the right do too. And the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. If there is anything bipartisan in America, it is anti-Semitism and anti-Mormonism. Both sides have a different brand that likes to show up to party. Okay. And it's brutal. It's disgusting and it's gross. But yeah, it looks like the motive here was just plain old anti-Mormonism. And everybody wants to get what they want out of it. You know what I'm saying? All the Republicans want to get what they want out of it. All the Democrats would love to get what they want out of it, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it does not explain what really happened. What really happened, at least from where I'm standing and from the third-party people that have talked with him, this was anti-Mormonism. And it's a trope that gets recycled. Brittany, when we went to the Easter celebration in the church that I won't name because I believe in doing minimal harm, what was the thing the pastor kept on saying about Mormons?
He talked about Joseph Smith a lot.
Yeah.
And how he was demonic, or you shouldn't follow him, or...
Yeah, don't follow Joseph Smith. I don't know if he used the specific term demonic. That seems to be a Mark Driscoll and Mark Winger specialty. But he definitely did mock the fact. He says, the only person that's going to save you according to the scriptures is Jesus Christ. No one else is going to save you. Joseph Smith isn't going to save you. And it's like, dude, that's not the claim. Like, Mormons don't claim Joseph Smith is going to save you. We don't claim that Joseph Smith competes with Jesus. We don't have a different Bible or a gold Bible. We have the same King James translation or ESV translation that you have, depending on which college professor assigns us which version at BYU, okay? But our claim is that Jesus Christ is the only thing that saves you. And that's unfortunately an anti-Mormon trope, just like there's anti-Semitic tropes of world domination and physical appearance and banking and so on and so forth. There's anti-Mormon tropes, and one of them is Joseph Smith v. Jesus, as though it's some kind of epic rap battle in history. Right up there next to You Get Your Own Planet, which is a Wes Huff favorite, and the oft-repeated Mormons are a cult and demonic and led by an angel demon Moroni. That you oftentimes hear, and they're all false. And anybody that's not a member of our show that's watching this live stream right now, I see that we have several hundred new people that have joined us. Yeah, that's a false trope against Mormons that is not true. So,
you know what I want to know?
Yeah.
I want to know all these anti-Mormon content creators. Well, actually, I don't even think they're content creators. They're just content reactors. But like Alyssa Grenfell, John DeLynn, Julie Hanks, like those types of people, do you think this event gave them pause to think, maybe talking bad about this religion, spewing all this hatred, maybe I should pause. Maybe I should think of doing something else, because who knows? Maybe he was a listener to one of their podcasts. Who knows what other crazy people are lurking in their comments, wanting to do some copycat crime. Like, I don't know. I think they got a lot of responsibility.
I have right here, we can put it in. I think we have Alyssa Grenfell has posted about it, and Jeremy Runnels. So I'll put those in the Discord for you.
Look, I'll tell you this much right now. Everybody's got their obligatory we eschew violence thing. Okay. And I already know. I haven't even seen it. But I already know exactly what there's some obligatory.
If there's a but or a however or anything like that, I don't care what they have to say. If they don't change their tune, that apology is mute. It's falling on deaf ears. I don't care. If they don't change their ways, they are, in my mind, and I think in a lot of other people's minds, just as guilty. they pulled a lot of triggers. Maybe not the physical trigger, but they're pulling lots of triggers.
And that apology rings very hollow if they change nothing, right? When it seems like, according to what we know so far, this guy was motivated by hatred of our religion, seemingly based on these horrible tropes that get repeated.
And I wonder where he heard it. Maybe all these popular anti-Mormon
unfortunately,
podcasts.
there's a lot of places he could have heard it, right? And so it's just sad.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, man, like Mark Driscoll's Instagram account looks a little bit different today. I recorded it yesterday when I was looking for some of his greatest hits. But yeah, like I really do hope that this gives a lot of these gross anti-Mormons some pause and think like how much of this had to do with their rhetoric, because you cannot be Mark Driscoll, who is screaming from the rooftops that wokeism killed Charlie Kirk, because for years they've been calling him a fascist and a leftist, and we can't condemn the rhetoric of...
Hey, Cardon.
Yeah?
I have a meme of what you're saying right now in the Discord.
Yes. I was actually going to pull it up. You can't condemn the rhetoric of saying the ad nauseum reference to conservatives and Charlie Kirk as a Nazi and a fascist contributed to his assassination, and then turn around and act like your ad nauseum reference to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as demons and as everything you're about to call us. You can't act like that's not the same thing. For years, they've said that we're an occult, that we're demonic. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say, this shouldn't come across as you can never criticize our church under any circumstances ever, because I think that's the Mott and Bailey we're going to see people think of, right? Where they're going to say, oh, well, now you have Latter-day Saints saying that you can never criticize their church. That's not what we're saying. We're saying stop using inflammatory lies to come after us. Start thinking about what the effects your words are going to have, and try to change change your tone.
Yeah.
Try to make this an attack on ideas, not people, if you can, right? Be responsible in the way that you're talking about other people. This is something that I think we all need to be doing better on. I think this is something President Nelson has been actively asking us to do when he's trying to tell us to be better peacemakers.
Yeah, but no, there's no both sidesism on this, though, because, for example...
this is not both sidesism. This is, hey, let's just...
I'm not saying, I'm sorry. Commitment. I'm not saying you're saying both sidesism, all right? But I'm saying there is no analog to this in Mormonism. Dr. Monhopfa brought up a really, really good point. Did you see his exchange with Pastor Mark Winger?
Mike Winger?
Yeah. No, he did this with Mark Driscoll and with Mike Winger.
Oh, dang. So the two-headed monster became Mark Winger.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. No, Mark Driscoll and Mike Winger. I'm sorry. I apologize. I screwed that up. But yeah, basically, you don't get to say that rhetoric matters and then not look at your own. Okay. And look, to this day, when you pull up, this is Mark Driscoll's Instagram account right here. Look, you don't have to go very far into this thing before you start. And look at this, 1.2 million followers. It's not like this is just like some dude who's, got some small following. I mean, here he's probably one of the top 10 most influential religious figures in North America, right? And when you scroll down, what's the very first thing? Look, here's a clip right here. It just says those cults. Oh, I guarantee you this is some kind of anti-Mormon thing. Look, we're just doing a raw, off-the-cuff social media audit here. First one. What is this? There it is. There's the I see Mormonism in the metadata. Let's just see what happens when you unmute this thing here. Okay. Those cults.
It's like Mormonism that is founded by a demon showing up, pretending to be an angel, masquerading as an angel of light called Moroni.
Look, there we are. Literally.
Creating an entire demonic false religion.
You don't have to go 30 seconds into this, and we're a demonic false religion. Why was it so destructive when they called Charlie Kirk ad nauseum a Nazi and a fascist? Because Americans, we crush Nazis and fascists. We destroy Nazism and fascism. That's what we did in World War II, and we believe that as anathema. So when you call someone a Nazi and a fascist, this isn't just a really mean crap post online, okay? It's not the same as pulling the trigger. We don't believe that the son is responsible for the sins of the father. We believe in individual agency, and we believe in individual responsibility. But there can be death by a million paper cuts. And every single time that our society lets somebody that wasn't a Nazi get called a Nazi for crappy political reasons, we contributed to the rhetoric that dehumanized Charlie Kirk enough that somebody who was mentally ill could feel justified in his assassination. And the same analog applies to Mormonism. When you have guys like Mark Driscoll who can just literally, let's play that one again, just from the beginning. I paused it once.
That is founded by a demon showing up, pretending to be an angel, masquerading as an angel of light called Moroni, creating an entire demonic false religion.
So I'm the member of an entire demonic false religion. Just like America crushes Nazis and fascism, what does the Bible say good Christians should do to demons? At best, exorcism. At worst, destruction. And here's Mark Driscoll, one of the millions of pastors, not millions, but hundreds of pastors, most influential pastors, ad nauseum. By the way, this isn't just once in some one angry rant. Like, just here's another one. Here's the next time.
Actually, here's an interesting thing. Kind of feels to me like it's showing up every time he has a bill he needs to pay, because he gets more engagement out of it, out of rage bait. He's not doing this because he actually believes in Jesus Christ. How does this bring anyone closer to Jesus Christ? He is saying garbage like this in order to inflame people against us, and in order to rile people up, get those comments going, and engage with social media and the worst of things that it does, because our social media encourages rage bait. And that is what I think Pastor Mark Driscoll is doing. I don't know if he believes any of this stuff that he's saying. He just wants the money, as far as I can tell, right? When I look at this guy and when I see what he's saying here, maybe that, and to not lose people in his flock to the Latter-day Saints, you know?
Yeah.
It drives me crazy looking at this guy and seeing the horrible, horrible things he will say about our church. And we had Jacob Hansen offer to debate him on this, and he's been utterly silent, like the coward that he is.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. And look, just here's the next one. Lest anybody say that we're being biased, this is literally the next one that I could guess on. Okay, and I think I've actually seen this one before, so it's probably an educated guess. But in the explanation on the side, okay, I'm going to put it full screen so everybody can see. It says, if you're a dad whose church did not address the demonic murder of Charlie Kirk, you need a new church for your family. You know what? If you were being intellectually honest, I would say Mark Driscoll, if you're a dad whose church did not address the demonic murder of a bunch of innocent members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka Mormons, you need a new church for your family. Here are some things to avoid when searching for a new church home. Let's just see if this is like laden with horrible hypocrisy or if it's actually some decent advice. Let's see.
Denominations. There are some rare exceptions. Your United Methodist is gone. Your Evangelical Lutheran Church in America is gone. Yeah, those kinds of mainline churches are gone. Episcopalianism has been gone for a long time. They may have beautiful buildings.
Oh, wait, I don't think this is the beginning. Let me try that one more time. I might have actually. Oh, here we go.
Not a pastor of the church, and you didn't have a church to go to, or you were just at one of these churches that ignored it, and you have a conviction you need to find a new church. What would be the things you would look for in a new church? How would you discern whether that's a church to bring your family to? And if you did bring your family, what are the things you're looking for to find a godly, courageous church?
Okay, this seems like a noble endeavor. Find a godly, courageous church. Now he says, avoid what? Avoid what?
Avoid the things that are not Christian, but sort of quasi-Christian, like Unitarianism. Cults include Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnessism. They have a different Jesus, a different gospel. Avoid them. Those are not Christian. I would steer.
Yep, there we go. That's this, to me, this kind of rhetoric needs to be condemned just as false and inflammatory and cruel, just as much as the rhetoric leading to the Charlie Kirk assassination of Nazi and fascist. And all I ask for is consistency. And I will even apply this to myself. Somebody snarkily said, oh, well, does that count, calling people communists or socialists online or whatever, Cardon for you? And I would actually say, yeah, I think the hyperbolic calling of somebody a communist when they're not, like some of my Aussie buddies do, as like an actual pejorative in everyday speech, I think that's inflammatory. But the difference is there's actually a lot of people self-identifying in the public square as socialists. There's an entire Democratic Socialist Party that's pushing an agenda now. There's actually a candidate for a mayoral candidate for New York that's an avowed socialist. And the self-declaration of a lot of these leftist terms is a lot more commonplace than Mormons walking around saying, yeah, dude, I'm demonic, bruh. We're not doing that. So, I mean, rhetoric is not the same as pulling the trigger, is not the same as lighting a building on fire, but there can be death.
The meme, Cardon.
Yeah, there can be death by a million paper cuts. And yes, so now I'm turning the meme in. This was Braderico being super hilarious. Read the meme, bro.
I was sharing someone else's. So this one I saw first from John Davis on X. And we've got, in the one hand, it's bad to murder Charlie Kirk, but he was a racist and a fascist. And on the other, it's bad to kill Mormons, but they are a demonic cult. And beneath, we've got Pam from The Office. They're the same picture. They really are. I see these as totally the same sort of thing. You are ruining an opportunity to actually mourn with those that mourn by highlighting differences when they don't need to be highlighted. And speaking of, I'm so sick of Pastor Mark Driscoll, and I am totally down to just move on from this portion and let's get to some super chats and focus back on some light.
Agreed. It just gets so dark. I can't believe that. You're right. Let's just keep going. So Brittany, before we go anywhere, Ben in Michigan, you got the same problems there or no?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have it everywhere. Like I mentioned yesterday, I grew up in my high school. I was the only member there, and I remember. So there's a private Lutheran school, not to call them out, but it only goes to 8th grade, and then those students join our high school, and we were eager to meet some new friends and everything, and quickly it was very clear they became uncomfortable because the kind of running joke was a lot of the tropes you hear about the church. Hey, how many girlfriends do you have? How many moms do you have? Blah, 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 all that stuff. But I was really open to it, and I was invited to some early morning study groups that happened on Wednesday mornings. And I didn't really tell anyone about it, my parents or anything. I just thought it was cool. And it was kind of a trap. And the pastor, I was like 14 or 15.
Happened to you too. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. No, to finish your story.
It's uneventful. He just challenged me on some things, and it does the opposite of what anyone thinks it's going to do. I quickly realized, as young and unattentive in church as I was, because you goof around with your friends and stuff, but you'd be amazed at just the impression of how little this person actually knew or understood about the gospel, let alone my religion. And so it was fine. I didn't go back again, and I tried to clear the air with some of these people, some of the Lutherans, because the Lutherans are good people. We're surrounded by them here in Michigan. But yeah, we have the same sort of thing. I've gotten guns pulled on me and all types of stuff with the missionaries. I got some stories.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to have to hear more of those. So let's read our super chats, go back to the shoot news, and then hopefully wrap up here in the next 20 or 30 minutes. Brittany, can you just read the super chats really fast?
Yeah, I didn't get to screenshot all of them, so if I miss one in
I've got
between.
some from the back.
Okay, cool.
I've been tracking them.
Okay, cool. So the first one I have is Gentile Ben. He says, please hug your family, count all of the blessings our Heavenly Father has given us. He loves you. This earth is so beautiful, and the church is true.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yep.
Gentile Ben. Focus back on God, man.
Next one I have is BK.
Okay.
That's Shadiversity on Ward Radio, pretty please.
Yeah, okay. If Shadiversity wants to come on, we will gladly accept him in the Ward Radio Wigwam. I tried looking him up and contacting him once, but he does not have a really good contact us section on his website.
I'll start trying to reach out.
You can?
Yeah, I think X is going to be our best bet to try to reach out to him. So I'll see what I can do.
Okay, yeah, because I actually remember spending like a solid 45 minutes trying to find a good way to contact him once. And who knows, maybe every influencer seems to have his preferred platform. And if you don't hit him on that platform, like somebody trying to contact me on Facebook may spend months, whereas, it might happen a lot faster on Twitter, right? So anyway.
And he's Australian, so what I've got to do is just watch for him to be active at midnight and then message him when he's awake at the same time, right?
Yeah, all right, Brittany, keep going through the super chats.
Next one I have is Not Your Average Dan.
Okay.
It says, if forgiveness presently seems impossible, plead for power through the atoning blood of Jesus Christ to help you. As you do so, I promise a personal peace and a burst of spiritual momentum. That was said by Russell M. Nelson.
Okay. Rock on. Excellent. Here. I
have 6
in between
7 from before that.
Okay.
So
you say those.
Okay. Say those.
Grab those.
Okay.
That, by the way, that is such a good quote. I love that. We need to be pleading for the power of Jesus Christ in our lives. Kier Ben 15 says, thank you for all you do. It's been a very sad few days. It hurts to see how people see us, but I love your videos and love listening to them while I work. It helps with my faith. Thank you, Kier Ben 15. That is awesome. I really do think that it's hard for us to mourn with those that mourn when we don't know each other, And so I appreciate the community we're starting to build online of saints who love one another and are doing their best to uplift one another where we can.
Yeah, okay.
Rebecca Rich says, thoughts on Charlie Kirk show having Pastor Mark Driscoll on the show today of all days. I just think they're not aware of what's going on with him and the things he said about our church.
Yeah, it's a blind spot. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. I don't want to have to see his face, and I definitely discount anything he has to say because I know he's a horrible anti-Mormon. I also feel a duty to say to our fellow actually ecumenical Christians out there, like, hey, this person actually really hates us. So I don't think Charlie Kirk himself, and he himself said, I'm not one of those people that hates on Mormons, and I think he recognized there was 2 types of brands of Christian out there, those that hated Mormons and those that love us. And he seemed to be in the love you camp enough that he wanted us to, quote, get our mojo back. So, yeah, it sucks watching that. I can read the next, or no, you read the next 3. Brad, hit us.
Okay, we've got Not Your Average Dan says, like an unchecked cancer, hate corrodes the personality and eats away its vital unity. Hate destroys a man's sense of values and his objectivity. Martin Luther King Jr. That's a fantastic quote. And I think one thing for us to try to make sure we don't do in this situation is to not let hate start consuming us. I think that would be very easy to do with some of the ways that we are being treated. But I think we need to turn to Christ and do everything that we can to have his light keep that darkness away from us.
Yeah, Ben's really going to appreciate the next one. Read the next one, bro.
Isaac Wilkes says, shout out to members in the area of Detroit. DI sent them close to 18,000 pounds of winter clothes to give to the homeless people in that area. They were going to donate out of the church that burned down. Oh, man.
Jeez. Were you aware of that, Ben?
Dude, there's people up here are legit, man. And of course the church has the light the world thing. But sorry, hold on. I'm getting like a bunch of
No, nothing on our end. So yeah, if you're getting a bunch of bad noise, we don't hear
Oh,
anything
boom,
on
there it
our
is, there it
end.
is. All right. Anyways, to answer your question, so we do the Light the World stuff, but also we have a ton of, I mean, I don't remember. I participated in several events over the years, but I don't know about the 18,000 thing. But even in the small branch up in Caro, you can't put a number on it, but between the service and what we gather, like food pantries and everything, people do not mess around up here. There's certainly a need, and that helps. I hate to say that, but like obviously where there's not a need, it's more difficult to do that. But because there's such a need, it allows us that opportunity to do that. So it's really cool.
Wow, dude. You know, I have been nothing but impressed by the membership in Michigan. In fact, with that, before I forget, I do actually want to pull up the official statements that we've gotten from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Michigan, so we don't stop updating people on this event, because at the end of the day,
Good call.
that is actually what this live stream is indeed an update. So here we go. I'm going to have to turn on X here, of course, when I look. First thing that pops up on X is Mike Lee reposting Pastor Mark Driscoll, who literally says, "There will be zero Mormons in heaven. It's demonic cult. A literal demon is the top of every Mormon building." Like, it's like, geez, man, you just can't freaking escape it.
What? Oh
But,
my gosh.
yeah, it's
What a clown. Like, look, I went to college for a theater degree, so I know what a clown looks like.
okay.
In the dictionary, if you look up the definition of clown, right next to bozo, you're going to see Pastor Mark Driscoll. This dude is a clown of the highest degree, of the worst variety. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to.
Yeah, I was
I was
about to
gonna
say,
say-
we're throwing peacemaking right out the door right now.
Nah, I don't care
this
about
is-
that right now. I was gonna say plot twist: Mark Driscoll is actually a demon.
No, okay, no. Let's move on. And
I'm sorry. I just.
wow, this
It
is
irks me so much, dude.
I know.
The fact that he lies about us the way that he does and is such a coward to not then go on and actually have a good faith interaction with someone like Jacob Hansen on Thoughtful Faith. He's willing to debate him on this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is a dude who does not believe what he believes with any conviction that he can prove. He
Yeah.
is just gaming the algorithm for clicks, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So, and it's priestcraft, but the opposite of priestcraft is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For those of you who are watching that don't know what priestcraft is, we eschew in our culture getting paid for the administration of the priesthood or the administration of the gospel. And so none of our church authorities are paid. Every position in our official church that you ever will interact with in your chapel is going to be a volunteer position. Okay, we might hire like a mechanic to fix like the church bus, or like, you know, a carpenter to fix a door on the building. Like, people don't have to work for us for free, like with the physical stuff. But all of our clergy is lay and volunteer. The leader of the congregation, the bishop, the equivalent of a pastor, is all volunteer. It's a 25-hour-a-week job that you just do out of the goodness of your heart. And it's called a calling in our faith, and all of us have one. Brittany, what's your calling? What's your responsibility at church?
I am the second counselor in the Relief Society.
Yeah, you help out all the ladies, right?
Yep.
I do a lot of the activity stuff with the youth, so on and so forth. Also, we haven't given a shout out and technically introduced here, though he's been on the screen a couple of times. Richard Brunson was actually just in studio before he started live streaming here, and he wrote a really cool book. The microphone's not in his face, so he can't talk. Oh, there it is. Give a shout out. What's going on, Richard? How you doing?
Good to be here.
Yeah, you enjoying the live stream? He wrote a cool book called Before the Second Coming that you guys should check out and look forward to some cool episodes on. But yeah, he's here in studio as well. What's your calling, my man? What do you do? What do you volunteer for at the church?
I'm in the Stake High Council, so a lot of administrative stuff.
It sounds really boring, but
Yeah.
very necessary, you know? And Ben, what do you do, bro? Ben and Brad, what do you guys do?
All right, go ahead.
So I am both a instructor, a gospel doctrine instructor with my wife. We co-teach the 16 to 18-year-olds in our ward. And then I am also an instructor for the elders quorum.
Okay. What about you, Ben? I would make you a ward greeter because you're so freaking handsome and your hair is perfect.
Thanks. No, I was in the
Yeah.
I was in the bishopric in Carroll, and then when we moved a few years back, which put me in the Saginaw ward, I was gospel doctrine teacher for a little bit with my wife, and then it was sort of a new calling. I was teaching the teachers at one point and the parents of young children, and now I'm preschool advisor.
Wow. And prescorum, by the way, for those that don't know, is actually the youth. Those are the 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. So, which is a super fun job. Anyway, so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints put out a statement from one of the volunteer clergy here. Now, I have been put in contact with this Jeffrey Schaub. I have been reluctant to send anything other than just positive messages because the guy's got so much on his mind already. I ain't going to be seeking for comment or anything like that unless it's absolutely necessary. But he took some time out of his obviously very busy schedule. This guy's been behaving like a champ. I understand that he's just been head on a swivel, no sleep, nonstop, constantly being there for his people, and frickin' awesome. Good on him. This is a statement that he made that went out and they released on the official church channel right here.
I would first like to thank everybody for reaching out. Thank you for your prayers. We feel them. We appreciate you thinking of us. We have so many people offering assistance, so for that I thank you. I want everyone to know and understand that our ward and our community will be well. We will come together through the power of our Savior Jesus Christ, and we will be happy and find joy again. I know there's a lot of people suffering right now, but we share in that testimony and that love of Jesus Christ, and that through him we'll find that peace and joy that is missing today and tomorrow and the next few days, but it will come. And I'm grateful for everybody's support at this time in helping us heal and get through that process. The Lord carries us. That is 100% something I have learned in the last 24 hours. This is not anything any of us could do on our own. I don't have the strength to do this on my own. The members who lost family can't get through this on their own. But I know the Lord carries us through these hard times. He is there with us by day and through those hard nights. And that if we trust in him and rely on him, we'll find that peace and joy that he's promised. And I have seen that in the last day. He will get us through this. These are opportunities to see the good in people. I think very often we focus on the bad. All of us make mistakes. We see bad around us. But there is so much more good in the world today. We are all children of the same loving Heavenly Father. And inherently, we love to help each other. We love to be kind. And while this is sad, these are opportunities to share that love with each other and remind one another who we are and what's important. I think that's inherent in where we come from and where are we going. We're reminded of those things at this time. So we will attempt to keep that foremost in our minds at this time of who we are and that we are one united family under a loving Heavenly Father.
All right, dude. To me, like, this dude's rising to the occasion in a way that is nothing but 100% commendable. What's your experience been, Ben? What's your experience been, Ben? You've been helping me kind of investigate this and get data information that we could glean from people and so on and so forth. To me, it just seems like so many people have just done a sobresaliente job. How do you say sobresaliente in English? Just like an above and beyond, awe-inspiring. Yeah, just an above and beyond way. Your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I wrote a little bit about it earlier because, when there's a tragedy or a need in the community, it's somewhat easy. And I pointed to some of the other things that have happened over the years. I know last time we brought up that tornado of 1980. There's been several natural disasters, and the ones that are recent are the floods. There's the Midland flood and Detroit flood. And I just want to share a little bit about, what I wrote about that. There's a limited outlet at this time. We can't go cut up a down tree with a chainsaw in 15 minutes with jokes flying and deacons learning the joy of service and leaders having the comforting problem of too many helpers. We can't shovel out a basement in an afternoon working hand in hand with local contractors, members of the church who drove 4 hours just to help. The smiles, spirit, and collaboration associated with those events aren't here freely or easily. They're to be worked for and in a different, more abstract way. So there's really not much you can do, but from what I understand and being told, there's been really nothing but um, straight up ministering, priesthood blessings in abundance, prayers, fasting, and one thing I will bring up, and I don't know how everyone feels about this. There's a lot of anger going on right now, but one of the most heartwarming things that I've seen is that a lot of times people will forget the shooter's family, who I'm sure were equally caught off guard, and they've already began fundraising for them, which I think is an amazing gesture because I know that he is a small child, and I'm sure that his family's just as devastated. So those affected, of course, but you have to add them into the mix as well. So what we can do is pray, fast, and have that
How,
hope inside of us.
how can people find that fundraiser, Ben?
I can try to find it for you and throw it in Discord.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That would be perfect.
And I mean, this is crazy. Like people were putting the family of the shooter. He wasn't killed, obviously. He was actually detained. Of Charlie Kirk, like on the prayer roll in temples, which is just foreign to me. My natural man, I should say, like my natural man. Just there's a part of me that sees that and sees humanity first so much. I can see where that comes from. But man, there's a big part of me that's just angry and thinks screw these people and just wants to let the anger take over. And the fact that you could actually fulfill the scriptural of just praying for those that spitefully use you, turning in the other cheek, fulfilling that commission of Christ, reminds me of this other tweet that I'm putting up on the screen that we were going to go over. I'm just going to burn through it really fast. I really like this. I really like this comment by Joel Kolinker, I guess it says. But it says, quote, read two of Christ's most important teachings. One, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. Matthew 5:44. Second quote, by this shall all men know that you are my disciples if you have love one to another. John 13:35. Now look at the chart. Now tell me if you think Mormons, quote, qualify as Christians. Mormons are the only group on there that feels positively towards all religious groups, even the groups who don't like us back, and even the groups who call us not Christians. On the day our leader dies and our church members were shot and burned, praying for the families in Michigan, praying for us all. And that's a very interesting take on the infamous graph that came out from Pew Research last year. They showed Mormons love all the other religions, but not necessarily all of the religions love them back the same. I thought that was a really interesting take. Your thoughts, Brad?
Oh, this has been around for a while, right? When is this from?
I think it first came out like, for us, a month seems like a year, but I would guess within the past 12 months.
Yeah, so I think that this data has been out for a while now. And what it says to me is that we take seriously the injunction to love our neighbor and to love our enemies and to love those who despitefully use us and persecute us. I think it says that we view others as positively as we possibly can. And honestly, I don't know. I think that is a realistic view. When I look at the stuff that we're seeing, because we're seeing a lot of people being very terrible online too, I really do think that social media is just privileging negative voices using the way that it uses its algorithm. And so I think that people fall into that trap, and they believe some of those lies they get told. And they think negatively of us because they've heard and then regurgitated some of these lies, right? That's the reason people dislike our church and what we believe is because they don't know what it actually is. They know some caricature of what we teach. And so they think, oh yeah, those Latter-day Saints must be crazy cultists, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not what we believe. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe that he's our savior. Read the living Christ before you attack us about what we believe. I think it's fascinating because you'll see other surveys that say things like 87% of Christians don't believe in the traditional in the traditional Trinity, the way that these people cut us out from being valid Christians. You know?
Yeah.
It's wild to see. And so I think we are far better off loving our neighbor, even if they don't like us back.
Yeah.
You know,
Speaking
that
of
is,
which,
it's the meme of, are you guys best friends? No. And then Mormons, yes. Like, that is who we are, and that is the right place to be, I think.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, the Babylon Bee made a really funny and interesting article that it's weird talking about a satire newspaper in the wake of such tragedy, but hey, comedy heals. And I looked at this and it says, Mormons respond to attacks by continuing to be amazingly kind to everyone. And then it shows a woman, for those of you that are listening on Spotify or on the radio, it shows a woman with a giant smile holding, I don't know, a casserole of some sort. And it says, Grand Blanc, Michigan, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints responded to the tragic attacks on their locations by continuing to be nice and friendly to everyone they met. Gosh, this really boils my blood, LDS member Carolyn Smith said. I'm going to continue to be as nice and neighborly to all the people around, and maybe I'll take someone a casserole. Heck, I'm so mad I might even make a cake and take it to my next door neighbor, which, like, we kind of laugh at and mock in a satirical way, but at the end of the day, is that not the commission of Christianity? Like,
I mean, have you not actually ever rage baked? Because I have absolutely done that. I have been so angry at someone that I'm like, I am going to bake you cookies because I know that is what I should do, because that would be horrible. Like,
are you serious, Brad?
So mad.
You rage bake?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, well, not often. I don't often get that angry. But yeah, I've done it before. And
I want to know who made you rage bake. Who made you so angry that you had to rage bake? That's what I want to know. Mark Driscoll?
Oh, no. No. This was when I was a better person than I am right now. But yeah, it's.
Have you ever heard of rage baking, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, am I not in the good guy club? I've never even heard of this before. Who
Listen,
you
we
rage?
used to have like linger longers and stuff, and I'm telling you, when I was a kid, I was enjoying the fruits of those competitions.
Okay.
I will say,
oh, yeah.
baking bread is quite good therapy. When you're kneading that dough, that is. I refuse to get a bread machine because it is my therapy.
Oh, that's funny.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back
now,
to sorry, keep
should
going,
I
Brad?
catch up on some super chats that we're missing?
Yeah, I was just going to go over.
Just so they don't get buried.
Yeah, sure. Go 3 super chats so you don't get buried.
Cool. So Gentile Ben says, another, gird up your loins, hold to the rod, and know you are loved. Another round of sound advice from Gentile Ben. Braden Barty says, I'm not buying for a second that the tattoo issue for some sour relationship over 10 years ago was the actual trigger for this dude blowing up an LDS chapel. This reeks of toxic social media hatred. I think he's right. I think it does. Yeah. It does feel like something radicalized this guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's actually a great way of putting it. Toxic social media hatred. Like, there's a reason why Governor Cox, in his amazing moment of hypermasculinity, said, go touch grass. You know, that is a very common thread that needs to be regulated. I feel younger people are actually better at it than elder millennials and Gen Xers are, because they grew up with social media and they're better at, I think, contextualizing where it belongs in their life. But yeah, toxic social media radicalization is what everything about this smacks of. So yeah, keep going through the super chats, my man.
Okay, Logan Gailey says, I heard that the policy against carrying at church is mostly for insurance. Do you think the brethren will talk about it? would we be better without it?
Oh, I'll tell you right now, I have been privy to some serious conversations with some serious leadership in the church where we've talked about this as being a big time problem. Everybody from Connor Boyack all the way over here with the polygamy deniers, all the way straight up to just your average Joe, liberal, never Trumper dude showing up to the chapel in Sandy with a CCW. Everybody agrees that is a bad idea. The architecture of our church leaves us extremely vulnerable. And one of the things I was going to point out earlier that Chris Johns talked about is he said, we go to Solid Rock Church, and there we take our security very seriously. I know that the leadership of our church has gone to interfaith chapel security meetings. There's actually organizations here that talk just about chapel security, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is woefully behind. Woefully behind. And I have been screaming from the rooftops, both in my chapel and from this platform here, that it is woefully behind. And that, unfortunately, the Orthodox wisdom is failing us, now failed us, and can be said in the past tense. And I don't want to come out and say, I told you so, and traffic in human misery, okay? But I will say, I hope the suggestions we have made ad nauseum on this program regarding chapel security will finally be taken seriously, because Michigan was a friggin' wake-up call. And I wish they would have listened before they had a wake-up call. But just like the Book of Mormon says, blessed are those that are humble without being compelled to be humble. Blessed are the congregations and the bishops and the stake presidents that took their chapel security very, very seriously before this incident compelled them to be humble enough to think about it. So,
can you guys catch me up? I don't know if I have missed you guys talking about this. It sounded to me from the things that I have read so far like there were 2 off-duty officers of different types in the congregation.
In the congregation.
And that's what stopped this as quickly as they did.
By the way, Ben, can you know this, you know the exact ins and outs of the membership and their credentials a little bit better than I do. Make sure I don't misspeak. That's true, right? That they were both in the congregation.
That's true, yes.
Okay. Yeah, and from what I understand in some of the press reports, when the police officer said we responded within 30 seconds, well, it was actually the congregants that responded. And it's not like there was a patrol car waiting in the parking lot, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So anyway, yeah. And by the way, man, part of me just wants to, we've heard of the unfortunate passing of some of these members, and our heart breaks. And we've kind of decided that since we're still within that 24 to 48 hour moment, in case there's some reason the family has been notified, we're not going to be mentioning names on this show. From this channel, we'll allow the authorities locally there to do it, just because it would suck to hear about it on Ward Radio first. But we do know that there's people that literally they've succumbed to their wounds, and they died defending themselves and their friends and their family and their loved ones, and freaking God bless these people.
And some of them going to help this guy thinking he had crashed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just our prayers to everybody involved. Elders Quorum president was an alpha Chad. Frickin' forever has my respect. Hugaboom. Crazy name. You know what I'm saying? But total stud, helping out his congregation. Bishop Schaub, totally helping out his congregation. Ben Phelps. I think Ben Phelps, he sustained some injuries and he's still in critical condition. Am I correct, Ben
Yes.
Kaiser? Yeah, prayers for that guy. These people are all just echelon up here. So yeah, let's read these last 3 super chats and we're gonna wind this thing down, my man. Hit us up.
Oh, there's way more than 3 super chats.
Oh crap.
Are you
Okay,
crazy?
let's burn through them then. Sorry, burn through these super chats really fast there, Brad.
There's like 12, yeah.
Oh jeez.
So
okay.
Okay, so Brittany, you already read this one from Not Your Average.
Okay.
Are we caught
okay.
up? So Brittany, keep going.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Brittany can go take over if she would like.
Really?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Fast.
from LDS
Fast.
Response.
Fast. Hit it, babe.
The Grand Blanc.
Stop, you're making me nervous. Gosh.
Okay.
LDS Response says the Grand Blanc members died as martyrs. Agreed.
Dude. How else could it be said? Keep going.
Okay, well, Brad, make sure I'm not skipping any. You took like...
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on
Okay.
it.
Then I have Gentile Ben says 3rd Nephi 12:10, and blessed are all they who are persecuted for my name's sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Search the scriptures for peace.
Another great reminder from Gentile Ben.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Starbase Kolob says keep fighting the good fight. Love you guys.
Okay, excellent. And then LDS Response. Hit them.
Our response must be in faith and not fear. DNC 68.6.
Excellent.
Madison
Excellent.
Mather, listening on my Uber shift in New Zealand, sending love. Hi, Britt. Oh, hi. That was for me.
Yes. you
Can I
deserved every
say
ounce.
something about responding in faith and not fear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is going to be dumb, but
I love
I
it
think
already.
it's one of the best lines in Star Wars. That fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. I think that's really true. I think that's like an actual chain of events. And I think that we need to choose faith over fear in this situation. We need to not let terroristic nightmares people who do heinous things like this have their goals succeed and make us become afraid. I think we need to choose faith over fear. We need to turn to the scriptures. We need to turn to God. We need to turn to Jesus Christ and have his mercy in our lives and his grace lift us to be better than we can be on our own. I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of these people who are dealing with this on the ground there with you, Ben, in Michigan itself, where those people are being so kind and loving to one another and lifting one another. I think that's something that comes from the grace of Jesus Christ. And I hope that we all choose to do that, to not use this, to let it make us afraid to be members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but to respond with faith.
Yeah.
Amen.
Here. Next one, babe.
Dwayne Sun says, for what it's worth with Shad, he does a podcast every Friday with Nerdrotic called Friday Night Tights at 4 p.m. Eastern. I don't think he'd have a hard time doing your show's time slot.
Okay.
All right.
Rock on.
I'll bring that up to him. Let me grab one we missed.
Okay.
Carrie Bailey said, did you see the Valuetainment conspiracy between Charlie Kirk's assassination and the 1998 movie Snake Eyes?
Yes.
No, I
Yes,
did.
I
actually
did.
yeah.
Wait, what?
It is shocking. Like, okay, this is going to be a whole rabbit hole. We can do a whole other live stream if you want.
What?
It's,
Ben? I heard Ben say
Cardon.
yes too?
Oh yeah.
I told you about this, Cardon.
What?
You have selective hearing with me.
Okay. How hot was your outfit?
Always.
Oh my gosh.
And he was just clipped, everyone. He was just clipped.
Yes.
I'm fine if they clip that.
It revolves around a assassination in a Nicolas Cage movie from like the 90s,
Yeah.
Jeez.
where a guy named Charles Kirkland is assassinated on September 10th. And he's killed in a very similar way.
By a guy
It is,
named Tyler.
What?
Mm-hmm. And on the cop car, the number is 47.
77.
I thought it was 47 for the 40th.
Oh, is there
47th
not a 77
president.
somewhere else in there?
I thought it was 47.
Okay,
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, there's a 47 involved. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, my mind is blown. I'll have to look into that. That's. Oh,
We
wow.
live in a simulation. No.
Yeah. Okay. Next super chat. Keep going.
Weird stuff. Okay, sorry. Continue, Brittany.
Okay, then I have John Davis.
Yeah.
Brad used my meme. Anti-Mormons are hypocrites.
Yeah.
Moto X Kid. Government Cox had a great take on 60 Minutes about the social media algorithms. Such a toxic place. Everyone should take a media break for a few days. I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
And you missed Onondagas.
No, I didn't. I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Brigham Young stated, every time you kick Mormonism, you kick it upstairs. You never kick it downstairs. The Lord Almighty so orders it. Is that a real quote? Really?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've been seeing that kicked around a lot on X the past few days.
I I've never heard of that one. That's cool.
Yeah, and then we have to welcome two people to the Ward Radio Wigwam. First off, TJ Pollock, all right, is just joined the Ward Radio Wigwam. Everybody would like to welcome. We've received the records of TJ into the Ward Radio Wigwam. Everybody would like to welcome. Please put a W for TJ into the chat. And then the last super chat after Onondagas, our boy, Don Bradley, stud muffin in chief, has actually joined us. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Don. Kyle says, rage baking is what newly initiated Exmos do when they realize they are finally free to live sad lives of drug abuse. Oh, jeez.
No, rage baking is what active members do when they realize they need to forgive somebody.
I want some rad rage baked. What do you make? Muffins? Cookies?
Cookies is the one I do.
I want a ragey cookie.
Yeah, I guess our live stream is getting big enough that people are trying to super chat us crazy stuff just to read online, right? So, okay, we're going to be winding down here in the next 2 or 3 minutes here. If you have any last super chats, any questions you want to ask us, by all means, ask us quickly. Before we go any further, though, I want to say, Ben, what is... You got your ears to the train tracks here. What's going on in Michigan now over the past 24 to 36 hours? The shock has subsided. Tell us what's happening, man, from your point of view, from your vantage point.
So they're just keeping up on the people that are still in critical condition. Some of the names, I guess, have been published. So I feel a little bit better about it, just in the GoFundMes that I put in the Discord. But the little girl, her name was Piper. And I need to qualify this real quick by saying I'm sharing this just so people can pray for these people and their families. It's not to do anything literally but that. So one of the brethren that was killed, Brother Hayden, and then Brother Howard. So just to keep these people in your thoughts and your prayers.
Wait a second. We actually got the names and GoFundMes of individual members here?
I threw those in there. That's why.
Dude, I'm going to donate to all of them. Are you kidding me?
And then, by the way,
and let's put this in the description of the. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We should put their GoFundMes in the description of the video. So
yeah, dude, are you kidding me? And you've been able to vet that these are actually members of our church that are. You've been able to confirm that these aren't, because every once in a while, I hate to say it, it is the most cruel trafficking in human misery when people make up fake GoFundMes after there's been a high-profile violent incident. But you've been able to verify that these are for members of the church, bro?
Not the GoFundMes specifically. So what I had was an independent list of the victims, and then when I found those, it matched. So that's the only reason that I felt confident to say anything about it. And one last thing. This is just what I've been hearing, is that there were many people that stepped up to shield people, and I believe Piper's dad was one of them, because she got hit, but he got hit as well.
Okay, I'm going to do my very best. I've tried not to reach out to priesthood authorities during this whole struggle because I want to keep their mental bandwidth as open as possible for anybody, but I want to verify if these GoFundMes are for members of their congregation or not, because the hospital bills must be horrible. And I'm looking at this, and if this is true, I want to push the crap out of these. Support to EM residents injured in the Grand Blanc tragedy. And it looks like this is one of the families there. You say you recognize those people. Here's another one right here for, I guess, one John Bond. Is this ringing a bell? You think this one's legit as well?
Yeah,
shoot.
And I thought his name was Dave Bond.
Okay, and it says John Bond, loving husband, father, and grandfather, was shot and killed in the LDS Church of Grand Blanc shooting that happened. It's dang it. Okay, let's. I'm going to do my homework on this, and assuming that we can confirm that these are real and whatnot, I would absolutely love to push the crap out of these, because
maybe we could even do a live stream where all super chats go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I am totally down for that. Okay. Any other specifics? Ben, hit us.
Not right now. I'll try to keep you in the loop. The one little aspect, I guess, I'm not sure 100% if it matters, but again, a lot of different information was coming in. So one thing I shied away from in terms of timeline was exactly what had happened, but a lot of stuff has been shared by a lot of people that were there, including the interviews that they did. So one thing that happened was he started actually firing at cars as they were, because a lot of people assumed danger right away when the car hit the building. Others didn't. They went to help. So those that were already exiting the building, going towards their cars and leaving, ended up being shot at. The one good thing about that is that it's not as easy to hit, and several people's cars that were hit, none of them were injured. So just keep everyone in your prayers. There's, I'm sure, a lot of grieving going on. You never really I think as much as we know and as much as we believe, doesn't matter if it's children. I mean, even when my grandparents passed, I was happy because their health was deteriorating, but there's still a sadness. So please keep these people in your prayers. It's obvious to say, but I wanted to say it anyway.
Yeah. No, it is obvious to say, but we always need more reminders. And you and I got some homework to do, Ben. I want to figure out if these GoFundMes, which one of these are legit, which ones we can send where. Because, look, you know what? I know I'm not a rich guy. I've been paycheck to paycheck most of my entire life. And let me tell you, even with decent insurance, you get a bullet hole through your front windshield and back windshield, and you're the luckiest person there that can only claim property damage. You still got thousands of dollars that may be unaccounted for, and if you could get help out even with something as simple as repairing your vehicle, like, great, because nothing's going to bring back the loved ones that have passed. You can't reverse that, but and families with lost wages, and those that have had loved ones that have passed, with just needing plane flights for loved ones to come in that can't afford it themselves, and hotels and food and this and that. Like, it's tragedy is unfortunately wildly expensive simultaneously. And I feel zero qualms with pushing as many of these GoFundMes that can help with even the smallest and most minor of expenses to relieve any kind of burden that these people might have. So yeah, you and I got homework to do. Let's verify these things if we can in the next 24 hours. And then I'll put them in the description of this live stream. Looks like it's already gotten like 12,000 to 15,000 views already. So we better do that pronto. But anyway, last two super chats are really fun. Fast Onondaga says, I'm actually not Don, sadly. Wait, wasn't Dodd Bradley's username Brad Onondagas?
Don's was Donondagas. So it was a hybrid of Don and Onondagas, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not actually Don, sadly. My parents were at the BYU versus CU game. They were shouting slurs and disgusting words the whole time. Yes, the F the Mormons chant is back. Did you see that one, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sad, man. And it is fascinating because it is 100%, there's such a double standard about this. And that's the thing that I think bugs me the most. I see a lot of people, again, doing a Mott and Bailey thing with this, where they are like, oh, it's just college kids being college kids. And it's like, yeah, what if they said that about like any other religion?
Jews.
Would you be, yeah, would that fly?
Catholics.
I don't think it would. Yeah, I think that's something that needs to stop. I think I don't think we should be going around saying that that's the reason why attacks like this happen. But I do think that kind of stuff, that allowance of mockery and degradation of our church with zero social stigma, does contribute to some degree, right? It's not responsible for it, but it contributes to it.
Yeah,
all adds up. Yeah.
All I ask for is consistency. Either we consistently enforce that we don't say F the insert racial, ethnic, or religious group here, or we just can say it. Like, let us all just say it. and don't selectively enforce over here and selectively enforce over there. Just all I ask for is consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key thing, is just having it be consistent. Like that's what bugs me the most, at least, is the double standard.
Yeah. So last super chat here, Ashley Bradford, thank you so much for this last super chat. Says 10, I the Lord will forgive whom I will forgive, but of you it is required to forgive all men. Doctrine and Covenants 64:10. Also, I believe that's from the book of Matthew, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, thank you very much for the positive reminder and the generous super chat, Ashley. We very much appreciate it. Ben, is there anything we're missing before we go?
No, not that I have right now, except if you'll allow me, I want to share one thing.
Yes, what is it?
Okay. This is from the Fellowship of the Ring, and they've just arrived in Lothlorien, and Mary's talking to Haldir here, and he says, I've never been out of my own land before, and if I had known what the world outside was like, I don't think I should have had the heart to leave it. Not even to see fair Lothlorien, said Haldir. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places, but still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. We have a keen understanding of the law of opposition, and as tragic as it is, it's a real opportunity for people, not just in my home state and in my community, but around the world, to come together. And that is not a pacifist position. That's not saying that we should do nothing. All the discussion and conversation about what we can do is valid, fair, and encouraged. But it's certainly an opportunity that we can grow closer to one another and to our Savior. And the other thing that I wanted to share, and this is from A Mere Christianity, says, do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor. Act as if you did. As soon as we do this, we find one of the greatest secrets. When you are behaving as if you love someone, you will presently come to love him. If you injure someone you dislike, you will find yourself disliking him more. If you do him a good turn, you will find yourself disliking him less. There is indeed one exception. If you do him a good turn, not to please God and obey the law of charity, but to show him what a fine forgiving chap you are, and to put him in your debt, then sit down to wait for his gratitude, you will probably be disappointed. I share that just because I think some people are a bit performative at times, and it doesn't have to be like that. What we believe in and what we preach and what is honestly in a lot of our hearts is genuine and earnest. And we can't forget that part. Again, I'm not saying this isn't one of those times where you just walk away from the situation and say, "Oh, this is forgiven." But what I am saying is that it's a real opportunity for people to evaluate their discipleship. And in fact, when I wrote today, I called on faithful priesthood holders to be valiant in the testimony of Christ, to rise up in their discipleship and their magnification. It's a real opportunity here. It's a shame it's come out of tragedy, but there's no better time than now to recommit ourselves.
Yeah. Awesome. Also, absolutely. I noticed there's a lot of people in the stream really fast, and I wanted to give something for everybody that's hung out with us so far. I'm creating 10 coupons, Angel 10. The first person, usually I'm a lot more jovial in the rest of our live streams and we have fun giveaways and so on and so forth. Okay. But basically, we've been pushing helping spread awareness about the movie Truth and Treason that comes out from Angel Studios that talks about Helmuth Hubener. And he's the youngest Mormon boy that stood up to the Nazis during the Third Reich, and actually had some shirts left over from an influencer screening that I went to. And I want to give them away. The first one that uses the coupon code ANGEL10 and just buys anything in the merch store, I'm going to shove this one in the box as well. And anybody that uses that 10% off to get a sweater, just because he's been so patient and he's been here the whole time just supervising. He was actually scheduled to be on a flight to be here before the Michigan tragedy happened, and Richard Brunson has been here in studio very patiently waiting for us to get done with all of our research and all of our live streaming, so we could go to recording some radio and Spotify podcasts regarding his book Before the Second Coming. Anybody that purchases one of the sweaters, I know it's getting cold and there's a bunch of sweaters. Richard, behind you, can you grab one of those sweaters? Yeah, they're by the books. Yeah, you're nice and tall, so you'll be able to grab them. Anybody that uses the 10% off to get one of these zip-up hoodie sweaters, the box for these sweaters is actually big enough to hold one of these Second Coming books right here. I'm going to give you one of the Second Coming books for free as well to the other 9 people that can use that coupon Angel10. Also, I want to give some gratitude here. Not just for Ben for showing up and doing all of his due diligence the past couple of weeks, and Brad hanging out. Thank you very, very much to Nathaniela. We always read the messages that people give us when they purchase us items on the Amazon wish list. She says, yeah, I'm Nathaniela, the female truth teller. No rhymes for me. Happy to help. From Tin Lizzie. Okay, awesome. That's a great username. Never heard that one before, but thank you. This is super helpful when we travel, especially when we're doing a lot of our Middle Eastern tours. It's great to have these solar powered packs on our backpack. And then also this one was actually a mistake. This was for my motorcycle. I needed a new foot pad. And when I pressed the like button on Amazon, it looks like it saved it to the Ward Radio wish list on accident. So I'm gonna have to reimburse the $7 or the $8 to Ward Radio for this one. But M. Smith snagged that one. So thank you very much, M. Smith, for your generosity. And Ben, if people want to follow more of you, how can they follow you, my man? You've been so helpful the past 36 hours. I want everybody that likes you to follow you, man. Where can they find you?
Best place is going to be X. If you just go on there, just search Ben Kaiser, and you'll find me. It's actually Benjamin Kaiser with 2 R's. That's not how it's really spelled, but yeah, that's the best place. I got Substack articles on there that I try to write a little bit more frequently now that people are actually starting to read. So that's the best place.
Cool. Awesome. Excellent. So you guys just hang out on the other side of this Zoom article. Other than that, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Yeah, Brad.
Can I throw out one more thing really fast?
Hit it.
I've just seen something happen with this tragedy that mirrors what was going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination in a way, where I would feel like it was a missed opportunity if we didn't address it a little bit here in this stream today.
Okay.
I saw a lot of people, just news outlets in particular, talking initially about this, saying, hey, there has been an attack on a Christian church. And a lot of people in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints then saying, yeah, this was us, this was our people. And we call for prayers to help these people. And then a really nasty contingent of people coming out to attack members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and say that we're not Christian. Even though the initial things saying that we were Christian was news outlets. One's from the president, where he said Christianity is under attack as part of this. I think I just want to say anybody who is engaging with this content and following this story, trying to figure out what's happening, stop attacking members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for their beliefs right now. Let it lie for a while. Leave it alone. Don't go now and attack your fellow Christians, even if you don't think they're fellow Christians. Mourn with those who mourn for a minute and let that be. I don't think that is the way Christ would have you behave in reacting to people, even if you think they're in error. And so I just wanted to say, because I see people saying that there were LDS apologists trying to co-opt this to shoehorn in their Christianity. And it's no, there were news outlets that said we were Christians, and then a bunch of people that started clarifying that we aren't Christian, people like Mark Driscoll, And then you had people like Glenn Beck, people like Senator Mike Lee clarifying, yeah, no, we really are a Christian church, saying this is what we believe. So I think that this is an important thing. If you are a good faith actor who cares about people and who has a heart, stop attacking members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Give them a moment to mourn. Give it a week. And I don't know, just soften your heart for a moment and mourn with those who mourn. Follow the teachings of Jesus rather than trying to gatekeep Christianity.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's great.
And that goes for Anti-Mormon YouTube channels as well. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, you guys.
And on our end, this is something I need to do. I need to not let it get me upset and get me more focused on that happening than trying to mourn with those who mourn within our own church. So I think that's another piece of reacting to this with faith over fear is paying more attention to those who are hurting and striving to see what we can do to help. And that's something I really appreciate about what you're doing, Ben, and everything that you're bringing to us here.
Yeah, I want to see if those GoFundMes, I want to verify as many of those as we can and push those as hard as we can out there as possible. If you guys like what you're seeing and you want to support the channel, please consider purchasing our popular War in Heaven veteran hats or buying a shirt in the merch store. If you're a person of means, you want to contribute to the channel, please consider a generous contribution through Zelle or through Venmo. We're available on all those platforms. We also have a great Discord channel. If you enjoyed what you see here, please join us on Discord. Links to that will be in the description of this video as well. Same with following us on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever your preferred platform is, we are going to be there. It's been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun for this and more. Please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.
Ready, set, go! Yeah, whole team on a loose, kick it up like Kung Fu.